Hello, everyone. Welcome to LawHelp Interactive and online forums. Very excited to be doing the series, online series, which I believe is the fourth time that we've run it as an inverted classroom. So hopefully it will be a good self-paced, self-time experience for all of you learning to create forms. I'm Claudia Johnson. I'm the program manager, and I am very lucky and happy to have an amazing team of partners and trainers with us today. And we're all gonna introduce ourselves individually. So when I turn it over, Mark will introduce himself. He's with Capstone. And then Jessica Frank and Bolak from Cali will also introduce herself. And so I'm just going to very quickly do like a 3 to 5 minutes overview of LHI and kind of tell you what my role is and what I have ability to help you out with, because the training is very much a hands-on technical training where you're actually learning how to script an interview in family law, both in hot docs and in A2J author. So just a quick intro on LHI. So hopefully we have a very clear vision at LawHelp Interactive. We want to be very aware and kind and compassionate in the process when somebody finally knows that they need to do a form, right? They're coming to the form from somewhere. They have identified a form as the tool that they need to go. And hopefully by the time they come to a form, the owner has given them instructions and guidance on what they're gonna need to do to complete that process, because generally the forms are either at the beginning of a process, in the middle of it, and sometimes at the end, or sometimes once things come up again, another form has to be started. So very transactional, and so we are trying to be very aware in this user journey and very compassionate, and kind of as they are using this form software, this interview software, to really make it easy, as fast as it can be, and as simple for them to create a complete, competent document that will let the party receiving it really know what is it that the person needs, why they need it, and be able to express their need to the decision maker or to the other party, because it's not always going to be a decision maker. It could be a private party. The purpose of them giving them this document. So that's our vision, and we have our vision is just to make the world better and to make it easier to find the forms, sit down and use the forms, and then continue in the process with other forms as they move through the path to justice. So that's our goal here with LHI, and we have a lot of advanced features that do this. We're not going to cover advanced features in this training, but we have other products, if you want to call them that, or capacities that are already existing in LHI, like LHI Connect, which allows groups of people to share and work together on large number of interviews with large groups from different places, asynchronous, remote workflows, and remote co-authoring of forms. We have e-filing capacity that enable people to send a form to a court and get their process e-filed at any set of the stage where that capacity exists. We also have a light email submission feature that is available now, that we created during last year to facilitate people completing the last mile from creating a document to submitting the form via email to courts or to agencies that were receiving documents in partnership with legal aid. And we have other integrations that we can do, like legal server integrations for like attorney workflows or pro bono workflows and other things. A lot of these things and features we're not going to cover in the training. I'm always happy to talk about with all of you one-on-one. And what's going to happen is, because we're going to cover a lot, I don't want to put a huge cognitive load on you on learning these other parts of the projects, the planning, the budgeting, the designing of the forms, all of the other things that really bring this mission. We're not going to get into it here. So what I'm going to do is, in the middle of this, I will email each of you individually, and I will start trying to set up maybe a 30-minute, 45-minute call to do a deep dive and see what your vision is, what your project is, and then start helping you think through the other parts that have nothing to do with creating the form. So that by the end of the training, you have had at least one project planning call where we have given you samples and we have identified the areas where you may need support and cannot get you to really think through a process. And if you're not the person that's going to run the project, I can do that with whoever that person is, because some of you may be here just as developers. So LHI, we are a platform, right? We create documents. That's our core function, is to let people create documents in a secure way. And we manage all the backends so that you can focus on the advocacy and the design of the forms and the funding of the project. And we run the technology. We are a training center. We do trainings like this. We do bi-monthly calls that if you're signing up to the list, you're gonna get the announcement. Some calls are technical, more technical, hands-on jobs, or some are more programmatic, which may be like, how do you create a form for 5 different counties, or specific areas that can be a little bit more advanced. And then we have a best practice. Many of you are in legal aid. You're extremely creative in extremely creative nonprofits, and often the community creates really amazing workflows, partnerships, ideas that could potentially be replicated. So when we see and find these things, I try to promote that nationally, and try to work either sharing with the community here or with a broader national community or in conferences and stuff like that. Because if you're doing something really amazing and you have figured out how to do it, it's a lot easier to share than to start from scratch for another project that may be also trying to do the same and not reinventing the wheel. So we try to be very collaborative and sharing in LawHelp Interactive. So just, just a couple quick stats to kind of give you a context of LHI. Pro Bono Net has been managing LHI since 2006. We have been creating, supporting in partnership with Capstone and Cali, doing trainings. We have trained probably over 500 people like you. Many of them go on to become experts and really contribute to the LHI community by developing new techniques. So I'm hoping that all of you will really get into this and really become really adroit at working with forms and thinking through forms as a tool for justice. And we are in civil law, so we have all areas of law. We work with courts, we work with legal aid, we work with pro bono groups. Last year was a really amazing year in a sad way because of the pandemic and all the pain that brought. But if just looking from my little LHI angle, seeing the programs that had forms and seeing how they took advantage of the forms that they already had and how they work partnerships with courts to do the last mile e-submission, and seeing how they took forms and they really were able to immediately focus them in the most vulnerable dockets like domestic violence, guardianships in the areas where people needed the most support because of the economic impacts of the pandemic and the social impacts of crisis like domestic violence and child abuse, income producing type forms. It was unbelievable to see how the forms actually played in the context of an unprecedented time. So we ended up doing a lot more forms despite seeing a huge decline in March, which was really amazing for us. The forms are installed all over the United States. In some places they have banks of terminals, etc. If you ever want to go visit one of those, reach out and I can help you do connections. They're all over the country. Most people we have a growing number of mobile users, but when they're institutionalized, they are like one of the core tools that self-help services use. And like I said, because of the crisis of the pandemic, the violence increased due to economic pressures on families and stress. And last year was one of the highest years in terms of assemblies created in the area of domestic violence. which really is, a population that we want to serve. So that was really cool. And in some states where we have the partnerships with the courts, they had the forms already. They didn't come to create the forms, and they were able to leverage the forms when they were able to reopen those very special dockets, because that happened county by county across the US. And we saw the growth just go up, which was really rewarding for them, but also very rewarding for us in supporting them to reach those goals of staying open in the time of adversity. And just, a couple other quotes. I will stop here and turn it over to Mark. If you need anything between the training, I think all of you have my email. Email me, and I'm here to support you in any aspect of form production, from planning to budgeting to evaluation with the form creation in the middle. Even sometimes I test. If you have a form that you're like, I don't know, send it to me, I'll test you and I'll tell you, hey, yeah, or somebody did this, you can find it here. And there's a lot in LHI that's shared in the developer portal, etc. I will stop here and let Mark Lauritsen take it up. And welcome to LHI. Hope you get the most out of this series.
Hey, thank you, Claudia. This is Mark. I'm a Massachusetts lawyer. Have worked on LawHelp Interactive since the beginning, way back around 2001, 2002. So we're kind of lifers. I want to give my co-trainers a chance to introduce themselves so you can hear their voices. Jessica, would you like to say a few words, and who are you and why are you here?
Sure, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Frank. I'm A to J Authors project manager, and I'm not quite a lifer, but I'm hitting a decade now of doing work in A to J Author. I work for CALI, which is the Center for Computer Assisted Legal Instruction. We're a nonprofit consortium of basically every law school in the US, and A to J Author is sort of our side project that I work on. I'm going to be doing week 3's class, and then at the end we're going to focus on diving deeper into A to J Authors. So you'll hear from me in a couple of weeks. But as always, if you have any questions, my email is jessica@cali.org. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Jessica. Hey, Bart, introduce yourself, please.
Sure. This is Bart Earl, Mark's colleague at Capstone, and like him, I've been involved with what was started off as National Public Documents Online, but it became LHI since its inception. Worked with hot docs since my days as a practicing lawyer, which was now a long time ago. Which was I started working with hot docs in the 1990s, and Mark and I alternate doing the recorded trainings for the hot docs piece. So you will hear me on some of the trainings, and we'll hear Mark on others. Thank you.
Thanks, Bart. Before we get into our overview, I'd like to give the folks in the room, our trainees, a chance to introduce yourselves. We had about 14 people register. We only have, I think, 6 on this call. I'm going to unmute you and ask you to say if you may have to unmute yourself locally. But I'd like to give everybody a chance to say who they are and where you are and why you're here and what you're hoping. So Derek, I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, so the reason why there's a few of us more registered than are here is there's 2 of us here in person. So my name's Anson Tullis, but if you're correct, Derek is the name that I'm logged under. He's sitting here with me as well. We work with Kansas Legal Services, and we're working specifically on some guardianship documents and some child needed care documents that we are looking to generate.
Cool, thank you. Welcome, Derek. I apologize for the echo. I'm not sure where that's coming from. James Jones.
Yes, sir. I am also with Kansas Legal Services, working in Kansas City in a medical legal partnership on both sides of the state line. So I work in Kansas and Missouri in the Children's Hospital on both sides. I am hoping and confident that hot docs will fill a great need that I have also around guardianships, which are very complicated over in Missouri. and that you have documents that must be filed before, during, and after the guardianship hearing. And the more I can automate this, I have about 10 a month referred to me, and I have one attorney and 1.5 paralegals, of which I am the 1/2 paralegal. So I have high hopes for this.
That's cool. Great to have you here.
Thank
you will likely discover, there's a lot of previous travelers who've done guardianship forms and conservatorship forms, etc., on LHI. So there are existing materials you can easily copy, steal, and revise for your own purposes.
I appreciate that.
We'll talk about where you can find it and how to use it along the course of the course. Lacey, introduce yourself, please.
Started. Hi, I'm Lacey Tollene. I'm a LawHelp navigator with the Pennsylvania Legal Aid Network. I assist victims of crime, and I'm more just here because I was curious about learning more about hot docs.
Okay.
Started.
Good. Marielle, I think you may have missed the beginning of this call, but we see you here now.
Hi, sorry about that. My name is Mariel Quiñones. I'm a co-worker with Lacey in Pennsylvania Legal Aid Network. We co-run the statewide website PA LawHelp with the help of our other team member Hank, and we have the chat navigation through the Victims of Crime portal. So we're really interested in being able to develop, hopefully, templates that are useful for the website in general.
Sounds good. Thank you. Pat Miller.
Hi, my name is Pat Muller. I'm with South Carolina Legal Services. We're not a stranger to LHI. We have a template developer, and I signed up for this training to be sort of like the second hand with that. So all of the responsibilities aren't totally on him. We are now looking at hot docs and broadening the scope of the documents that we have automated, specifically for our family law unit. The family law unit head, although we've automated a lot of the family court documents, there are a lot that they're using in-house and have come to the decision that in order to help them be more efficient in client representation, they are requesting that we automate probably about 40 additional documents,
Wow.
which is a large task. And the discussion is still going on as to whether to contract with a template developer or try to manage it somehow in-house. But in that interim, even while that decision hasn't been made, I thought it would be best, because I'd probably be the project manager, is to have some knowledge myself as to how the software works and the whole dynamics of it.
Makes sense. Knowledge is always good. Good to hear your voice, Pat. Ramsey, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Ramsey Badwi. I am the Program and Outreach Coordinator for the Michigan Legal Help Program, and I am currently in the process of getting some new duties, and one of those is going to be document assembly. So I'm in the process of kind of self-training, so I thought this course would be, a great asset to that. And I'm also in the process of developing my first form.
Cool. It's a fun stage to be at. Vivian, please say hello. You're green, but I don't hear you. Okay, I'm not hearing any sound from Vivian. I assume it's not just me. Okay, she's using a remote desktop. Understood. Well, perhaps, yeah, we got you, Vivian. So perhaps next time we can hear your voice. I think that's everybody who's here in person. I want to revert to our overview, but feel free to raise any questions or comments as we go. This is intended to be a very informal process. As Jessica said, we have a 7-week online course designed. It can be taken totally on a do-it-yourself basis on your own pace, but you're lucky enough to be part of a cohort of folks who are taking it together, and we'll have a meeting like this at the beginning and the end of each of these 7 weeks to answer any questions, provide guidance, provide support, and show and tell your homework. Let me just quickly show 3 documents that are critical, I think, to making this make sense for you. One is the syllabus, and this is what I've got on the screen at the moment. This describes exactly what happens in each week of the training, has a outline of the topics covered, describes the homework that you should be doing along the way, and most importantly has links to the videos, which are recordings of presentations we've made a few years ago. As Claudia said, this is designed as an inverted course where most of your work happens offline, and then we get together weekly to debrief and to resolve any issues you may have. So you should look at the syllabus, get familiar with it. You're about to begin, as of now, week 1, and you listen to these videos and cover these topics. And it continues to get quite interesting over the course of the 7 weeks. The second document, and these are all available in the Resource Center. You should have copies and hopefully have looked at them. This is the actual schedule for this cohort and its experience of the course. And this is designed to really take you through what you should be doing, what should happen when, week by week, both on the call and in between the calls. And at the very end of this document, I think is a handy image that tries to summarize a somewhat chaotic process where for any given week, there'll be a call at the beginning of the week. On that call, we'll be doing certain things. In between the 2 calls, you'll be doing your homework for that week, watching the recording and doing the self-guided exercises that constitutes the homework. And then the following week, we'll meet again to review that homework, answer questions. We try to elicit a volunteer or 2 for each class, each week, who's willing to show their screen and show what they did and describe any issues or problems or breakthroughs they might have had in the course of that week. Anyone have any questions about this overall flow? We've done it now, as Claudia said, 4 or 5 times. We've done in-person trainings before that for many years. But that's the overall arc of the course. But feel free to interject if you have questions. The next thing is, for each week, there is a document that has your homework. And this describes basically what you should be doing after watching the videos. And the videos, you'll pretty much be doing what we did in the video. So the video is a preview of your homework activity. And this will give you a step-by-step recipe for recreating what happened in that video. And then in most cases, there are some auxiliary files and materials available at the end of the homework materials. So those are the 3 documents you should be comfortable with. Print them out, have them available. They are all findable in the Resource Center. So the LHI Resource Center, most of you already have subscriptions and accounts in this for free. And this has got a folder for each of these calls, plus the various weeks of the course. So for week 1, again, beginning today, if you go to the folder for that day, you'll find a link to the document I just showed you, which is the homework. So let me stop there and just see if anyone has any questions or concerns about getting the materials you need or how this thing works mechanically. I'll check the question pane too. Well, Vivian is telling us she's an intern at Illinois Legal Aid Online, by the way. That's good to know. And Bart or Jessica, if I've left anything out about the overall flow of the course, I should point out it's designed really so there's 5 weeks which focus on hot docs. Although in week 3, as Jessica said, we introduce A to J author, which is both an auxiliary to hot docs and a freestanding alternative to hot docs. both of which are fully supported on LHI. And then after week 5, the last 2 weeks, the focus is entirely on A to J Author and some of the more advanced features available with that platform.
I just want to add that it sometimes can be a bit overwhelming. If you're getting behind or you feel like you have questions, you can always feel free to reach out to Mark, Bart, or me. We're pretty good about answering questions. We don't want you to get stuck or bang your head on something for an hour or two. Just reach out and we can work together to figure out if it's A to J or hot docs, and then get back with you and figure out how to help you fix it.
Before I forget, can I elicit a volunteer or two to present next week, to present your homework? Again, this is low stress. It's just basically an opportunity for 5 or 10 minutes to show your screen and show the rest of the group what you did and how you did it, and answer or ask any questions you might have encountered along the way. Do I have a volunteer or two for that? And you can just unmute and tell me, or put your answer in the question pane.
Well, this is Pat. I will try to have it ready. I'll volunteer.
Excellent. That's what we want, Pat. And I should say it gets harder as you go along, so there's a premium on volunteering for the early classes.
Pat gets the gold star today for the teacher's pet for volunteering first.
We have a second volunteer. It's always good to have two.
This is
Ramsey.
James. I will volunteer.
Oh, go ahead.
Say your name again, please.
This is James. I will volunteer.
Excellent. Okay, James. I got you guys down. So be ready on 6/16, and that'll give you extra incentive to get this work done.
Okay.
This is a lot of fun. I think we always have a good time, and people learn a lot. It can be overwhelming because there's a lot of different dimensions to this, but we do start off reasonably slow, and probably the critical advice is keep up if at all possible, and don't hesitate to ask questions both in between and during these calls. I'm just going to be quiet because I want to give anybody who wants to say anything or ask anything a chance. And you'll find we're not going to prolong these calls if we don't have meaningful conversation. But I just wanted to make sure that if anyone does have anything on their mind, they can say it.
I have a question.
Yes.
During the discussions for the family law unit automating their documents, the attorneys are wanting to know, once their document is automated in LHI, how will they be able to access it to complete it for their particular client? Say if it's a divorce complaint and
Right.
they want to, Sally Jane is sitting in front of them and they just want to do the petition right then.
Yep.
Is that petition going to be saved to LHI, or is it possible they can save it to that client's file in Legal Server and it's accessible without them logging into LHI?
Let's see. So they can certainly use LHI. Once you have the template on LHI, they can use that template. You'll have a link to them that they can use to answer questions and generate the documents. Once you've generated the documents, you can store and save those anywhere you like. So depending upon where you are in the process, you may be done with LHI, take the resulting assembled documents, and then put it into your local document management system. If you need to change your answers and regenerate, you can come back into LHI and regenerate. But maybe I'm not understanding your question fully, Pat.
Well, that's part of it. They're looking for the templates to be local and say create a library on SharePoint or what have you of the local templates. So lawyers around the state, if one is pulling in a summons, they do it right from their desktop without logging into LHI. Create that summons and then store it in that client's file.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to get around having to sign in to LHI to access one of the templates that is created for them.
But we
Right.
do have an API that's set up to work directly with legal server, so that the data that the expert thinks needs to come from the legal server system, like from the intake or whatever, can get put into LHI, and then LHI can return back either the answer file or the document on both without login by the lawyer. We do have an integration like that, but it's not something that is custom or set up. I can talk to you and even give you a demo if you're interested in that, but it works, but we would have to do some things on our backend, and legal server would have to do some things on their backend. But it's a great way, because then the lawyers don't have, they just, the data comes from legal server, it goes to LHI. If the lawyer needs to put more stuff in that, they can. But if then a document needs to get generated, it could just go back and get put back in the legal server file. We have multiple options on this, so happy to share with that. But it's not something that we're gonna cover in this training.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a tiny project,
Mm-hmm.
but it's doable. It's been done.
Okay. Okay. And we'll talk, because.
Yeah, you can email me, or you can wait until I email you, because I don't want to overwhelm folks, with like all this other extra stuff.
Okay.
But when we sit down to kind of talk about a project plan, I can share and do a demo.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
One of the beauties of LHI is that it provides access to very sophisticated document automation for free without having to install any local software. But the downside is, in order to use it, you have to access the server. And if you want to access pre-existing answers to questions, you have to log in. So I think for lawyers, they should kind of get in the habit of logging in if they want to take advantage of it. And I don't know, Pat, whether in your state you've got hot docs available locally. That's a whole other barrel of fish to deal with. There are ways, as Claudia said, to connect these pieces, but
right.
I think the short answer is, if once you or others develop a suite of family law templates for use in your state, they'll be available on LHI for anybody you want to give access to use them, but at the cost of having to take a minute to log in.
And Claudia, correct me if I'm wrong, but the legal server integration allows people to be logged into legal server, and then they don't have to log into LHI, right? As long as they're logged into the legal server.
Like I said, it's like modular. Some people don't wanna log into LHI. Some people wanna. If it's like for pro bono lawyers, they would prefer them to log into LHI and then have LHI send the data to legal server without them having access to their legal server. So it's very modular. So it can be grandfathered. It could be a grandfather with login in case the lawyer doesn't have access to legal server because they're in a remote place and they don't want to log into legal server from an unsecured network. Or it could be log into LHI and then LHI soup up the data.
Okay.
So it's very flexible.
Anyone else have a question or comment they'd like to get out? If we don't hear one in the next few minutes, we will resume again on a week from today, same time, same bat channel. Claudia, any closing words, or anyone else, Bart or Jessica, you want to throw in?
This is Pat. I do have another question.
Please go ahead, Pat.
While I'm completing the homework that I'm going to present next week, and where do I post a question? If I run into something that I don't understand, who do I send the question to? Or where do I post it?
I think you can send it to any of the trainers, Bart or me or Jessica, and our emails, I think, are on the email you guys just got.
Okay.
We don't have a place to post it necessarily, unless I'm not remembering something, Claudia.
No, and you can email me because you know we have multiple things that become magic, right?
Okay.
So I cannot triage it because if it's like an accounting, I can approve, right? Or like Johnny, who's in the call, can also approve. If it's like a resource question, you know, I may be able to find it for you. If it's a specific authoring question, then I would refer you to either Jessica or Martin Bark or both of them if it's like a combined thing. So you can use me as a triage, or you can email the instructors directly. But I'm putting my email there.
Okay, thank you.
I also should have remembered that we have several other colleagues at Pro Bono Net on this call, and I wanted to give them a chance to say hello so you hear their names. Allison, if you're paying attention here at the moment, can you unmute and just say hello and what your role is at LHI?
Hi, my name is Allison Korn. I'm an attorney and the legal solutions designer for Pro Bono Net. I work as project manager on some of our projects with the DC courts in their interactive forums through LHI, and so I'm on the call to learn a little bit more about hot docs since I work closely with Bart and other forums developers, and just want a better understanding of it. So.
Thank you, Allison. Casey, how about you? Can you say hello? If not, Johnny, are you listening? If so, Claudia mentioned your name, so I thought I'd give Johnny Garcia a chance to say hi.
Yes, of course. This is Johnny Garcia. I'm a community support associate, so I do everything from community support, from customer support to testing sites to working with another platform through Pro Bono Net called RLC, as well as LHI, obviously.
There's a deep bench of helpers on the Pro Bono Net side, plus some outside trainers, and one of us can, I think, get you to the right place if you run into any trouble. So don't hesitate to reach out. I think I'm done, Claudia. I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay, thank you. Well, time is precious, and I know all of you are really busy. I really thank everybody that told us in the forum the type of project that they may want to be doing. And we'll see you when you subscribe to the GoToWebinar, that subscribe you to a series. So you just come back next week at 2 p.m. I'll generally, it's either gonna be Johnny or me who are gonna be starting this probably like at 1:50, a little before the allotted time, in case there's anything that anybody needs before the call. And I know that I've been emailing with some of you on approvals or making sure, responding to list requests or anything like that. Keep those coming because we do want to make sure everybody gets set up. And if anybody has any software issues, let us know. I have replied to one of you about a very specific report that we got on the help index. So we are looking at that, and either me or Bart or Mark will get back to you on that specific thing that he told you that it wasn't installed. So yeah, let's try to get everybody really in good shape by next week and have fun doing the homework. I've done this course at least 3 times, and when I come back, it's always I always learn something new. It's a very powerful technology. And thank you to all the trainers and everybody else.
Sounds good. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.